Good to have you back. Now let's talk matters human capital development. As Labour Day approaches, Uganda is still on a high alert to address unemployment, especially among youth. The Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Program has so far supported over 7,000 youth, generating over 20,000 jobs. Stakeholders are determined to direct robust skilling programs and ensure entrepreneurship. Naomi Matumba reports.
The employment rate in Uganda is at 9.2%, according to the latest data from Uganda Bureau of Statistics, with youth making up a sizable share of this number. In order to give young people the skills they need to thrive, there is now a greater focus on enterprise development and career preparedness programs. The 2013 launched Youth Entrepreneurship and Employment Program is one of the initiatives, with over 7,000 young entrepreneurs having received support from the program, and it has so far generated over 20,000 jobs. The Skilling Uganda program is another effort that was started in 2016 to give young people the skills they need to enter the workforce. Over 90,000 people have been trained by the Skilling Uganda program since it began, with a focus on providing skills that are high in demand in the labour market. Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, the country's first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of the East African Community, says that while there are still numerous holes in Uganda's skill set that need to be filled, it is crucial for young people to expand their horizons through enterprise development.
If we don't target the right areas, we are going to be spectators. As those who have the skills come to Uganda to work. Of course, my work is to promote integration. We should welcome all those, but it's important that our people participate in the benefits of the economy.
These programs have had substantial impact on Ugandan enterprise growth and career preparedness, but there is still a lot of work to be done, especially in addressing the discrepancy between the skills being taught and the skills that employers are looking for. The government has been collaborating with the corporate sector to address this problem and make sure that the training given is pertinent to the demands of companies. Speaking with some of the stakeholders in technical institutes, they report that by giving many young people employable skills, they have helped to lower the employment rate in the nation.
We believe that for any institution or for any country to really prosper, people must have the capacity to build, enterprise, to do entrepreneurship, skills to do business, skills to innovate and do a number of other things.
These students are training. We attach them to industry, what we normally call industrial training. So we go out and identify the industries that match their trades. So we attach them to industry. As they learn what at college, they are also practicing as it is done in the field. So apart from that, somebody comes out when they know how to apply whatever they have learned in school.
Currently, we want to train job creators, not job seekers. So skilling will make these participants, students, to create jobs for themselves, not to seek for employment elsewhere.
As the demand for skilled employees grows in Uganda, initiatives such as the Skilling Uganda program and the Uganda Skills Development Project will play an important role in providing young people with the skills they need to succeed in the job market. These initiatives, which place a strong emphasis on enterprise development and career preparedness, are assisting Uganda in developing a more thriving and affluent economy. Naomi Matumba, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
Elsewhere in Kabale, just like any other urban setting, is apparently forging means to fit into the National Environmental Action Plan and the nationally determined contribution obligations for environmental protection. Now, at the backdrop of the World Earth Day, the district has launched a campaign to address challenges such as municipal solid waste while implementing sanitation standards. Norbert Ndiamhachi reports.
Earth Day always serves as a reminder of environmental protection. The National Environment Management Authority tasks local governments to fit into the National Environment Action Plan by preparing district action plans that envision environmental management. Kabale Municipal Council has today launched a dedicated campaign to address environmental deficits vis-a-vis development. To achieve this goal, various initiatives such as waste management programs and public sensitization have been considered. The move replicates the growing pressure in the capital Kampala, where upon neighbors move to heavily attack poor garbage management with hefty fines, extra awareness has been raised.
We want to collect these plastics and be able to clean our environment. So we've come together to work with the local authorities on the ground to clean the environment. The second objective for setting up this center was to create employment opportunities, especially for the vulnerable people in the communities. So we have a number of people who collect these plastics and they bring here and we pay them on a daily basis. So
if we can get more market, we can increase on what? On their prices, because now the price of the plastic is lowering down. That's why we are buying at 300 now, but we are hoping to increase.
According to Andrew Veja, Kabale Municipality Health Inspector, the campaign will continue throughout other divisions in the municipality in subsequent months, with challenges in implementation primarily affected by COVID-19.
But we have finished like 5 years, but because of COVID, we relaxed a bit. But this is a strategy to have a clean town, and the exercise is performed every Thursday. Last Thursday every month, we have an exercise of cleaning, so that everybody, whether you have a shop, whether you have a hotel, whether you have a school, you involve yourself in having a clean environment.
Isaac Muchunguzi, the Northern Division chairperson who led today's team of cleaners, believes that the municipal's endeavors towards sustainability will eventually be achieved amid this positive reception by residents.
Keeping Kabale clean is our culture, and you have to do this every Thursday in the last month. And you have to keep our environment clean, and even to put a culture in these children so that they keep knowing that it is their responsibility to make sure the community is clean.
Taken campaign today's work because it will improve on the health of our town. Then it will again help us in competing for the first position, considering the towns, the cleanliness in the towns of this country.
Amid this climate and environmental protection, various initiatives by either public or private players are currently underway to address related challenges such as air and water quality at the demand of environmental audits. Norbert Ndiamhachi, Bronya Katsime, Smart24 TV, Business Today.
And we now head internationally as we look at managing global economic tension. The post-pandemic strife has placed global economies on a drastic course towards a revamp amidst threat of a recession. And according to the International Monetary Fund, monetary tightening is still required to defeat inflation, as observed with revisions in central bank rates. However, challenges still lie ahead as efforts to defeat inflation are coupled with a growing borrowing appetite among vulnerable economies, as it is in East Africa, for instance.
The Eurozone is also on the course to tame inflation without risk of recession and financial instability. Such challenges have manifested in the US, whose financial sector has had to sustain a shake-up with the banks such as Silicon Valley Bank and Signature collapsing. Alfred Kammer, the director of the European Department at the International Monetary Fund, says that core inflation is persistently high and there is nothing worse than pausing a counter-inflation fight prematurely.
That we need to defeat inflation. And that requires a concerted effort. It means for central banks and for the European Central Bank, it means further tightening is required. And when the terminal rate has been reached, that terminal rate needs to be maintained for longer, because core inflation is high and is very persistent. And there's nothing worse than pausing an inflation fighting effort too early, or abandoning it too early, because if you need to do it a second time, the costs to the economy are so much larger. The message to the ministers of finance is you need to support this disinflation effort by the central bank.
Locally, the central bank is still committed to mopping away excessive liquidity by implementing the 5% medium target.
Economic growth remains on a recovery path, averaging 6.8% in the first 2 quarters of the financial year 2022/23, and this was supported by a stronger recovery in services and agricultural output. However, the quarterly economic growth for quarter 2 of financial year 22/23 dropped to 4.4% from the 9.2% recorded in the first quarter of financial year 2022/23 due to a decline in industrial output and a moderation in the services output growth. Moreover, growth in economic activity measured by high-frequency indicators point to a moderation in the recent months. The Composite Index of Economic Activity, CIEA, grew by 0.9% in the 3 months to February 2023, which is lower than the 1.2% growth in the quarter ended November 2022.
Meanwhile, the post-pandemic recovery initiative, at the backdrop of a weakened financial infrastructure, has paved way to continuous external financing. East Africa's IMF credit outstanding as of yesterday's informs the current drive. Uganda expects 812.25 million in special drawing rights from the IMF, Kenya 1.766 billion, 5,163.16 million for Tanzania, 222.2 million for Rwanda, Burundi at 58.9 million, and DRC at 1.14 billion.
All right, now that brings us to the end of business today, but first let's have a rewind of our top stories.
In business today, headline inflation eases to 8% from 9% last month as high fuel prices persist as food and beverages industry dominate. Telecom sector is caught at crossroads. Infrastructure and standards dent progress as government loses close to $1 billion in potential tax. And Uganda braces for African Energy Bank as Petroleum Producers Organization and Afrexim Bank confirm agreement.
Many thanks for being part of the broadcast tonight. I'm Joram Ssonko with Winnie Wins and Akauchi for the sign language interpretation. Till next week, we wish you a blessed weekend and a fruitful month of May that kickstarts off on Monday. Good evening.